call today. And I want to share just a few ideas with you on what I think can help you grow your business. But the foundation of growing your business is you, because we all have the same marketing plan. We all have the same products. We are all doing business in the same market. So what is the difference? What is the difference that makes others more successful and others not? The difference is you. So if you want to succeed in this business, work on yourself more than you're working on everything else. You know, when I was in college, I used to be in the choir for St. Paul's Catholic Church in Nairobi. And one of the things that we used to do is singing. So sometimes when I receive a call from somebody, I receive it singing, "Good morning to you." And when I do that, people just say good morning, even if it's late in the evening. And what I realized is that the attitude you take is the attitude you receive from life. If you have a good attitude, that's what you will get. So I want to thank the Superstar team, Joshua and Pierrot. I think they have been wonderful leaders in East Africa. They've really shown the way in terms of sponsoring. You know, every month I'm trying to compete with them, but I cannot reach where they have reached in terms of sponsoring. So I really appreciate it. What I want to discuss with you is, if you capture the concept that we're going to share with you this evening, in 2 years' time, you don't need to work for anybody. Betty, and just to give you a little story on ourselves, Betty and I started the business in 1996. And the reason we started the business because we wanted to make an extra 20,000 shillings. Betty wasn't working. She couldn't get a job in Pretoria because when we came to South Africa, the schooling system had two medium of instruction, English and Afrikaans. Betty did not know any Afrikaans, so she could only apply to the schools that are teaching English. And she looked for a job for almost a year. And when she didn't get, I remember she said that, "I've looked for a job long enough, let the job come and find me at home." 2 weeks after that is when we joined the business. So be careful what you pray for. When you pray for good, you'll get. If you be very careful with what you confess with your tongue, because it will become a reality. So Betty and I started, we wanted to make only 20,000 shillings. I remember our first check was 300 shillings. But after 7 months doing the business part-time, our income reached 75,000 shillings. That's when I really began to take note of the business, and I began to study. Betty and I worked extremely hard. The first 2 years, we were driving an average of 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers every month, visiting our distributors, doing training. Betty became an expert in parking the children in the car. We'd hit the road. We leave on a Friday evening. We'd come back on Sunday evening, because we were completely committed about the business. So what did we do? What did we do to become successful in the business? I think Pierre Rose mentioned about something called basics. I was reading once about Tiger Woods and his father. His father had a very profound influence in his life. When his golfing was getting poorer, his father always told him, "Son, go back to the basics. Go and learn how to swing. Go and learn how to control the swing. Go and learn how to direct the ball. Go back to the basics." And the moment he did that, he went to the top of the rankings again. So what I want to encourage you in this business, back to basics. What are the basics of our business? If you give me a moment, I want to share something with you about how I think this business is built. You know, I'm an engineer and I like to sketch things. So this simple sketch, I summarized the whole business in one page. If you master what is written on this page, you're guaranteed, if you're a distributor, you're guaranteed of becoming a director in 4 to 6 months. If you're a director, you're guaranteed to become a sapphire director in 4 to 6 months. If you master this process. Let me say, most of you are just starting the business, or you've been in the business for a year. You start the business, you register, you get a business kit. What are the things you need to do to become successful? What is the process you need to follow? What I want to suggest to you, set your goals, put them there, director, ruby, sapphire, diamond, set the goal, that's fine. But don't focus on the goal. Focus on the process that leads you to the goal. If you do that, the goal is guaranteed. And what is the process? The first thing you need to do is you need to have a dream chart. A dream chart is a physical representation of what you want to achieve in your life, or the pictorial representation of the things you want to achieve. If you're a distributor, if you are there old, you're new, if you haven't done this, before you sleep tomorrow, I know today is a rather late, but before you sleep tomorrow, make sure you have a dream chart on your wall. Why is that necessary? Because remember, the brain only works with what it sees constantly. Okay, so build your dream chart. Cut out the picture of the home you want to build. Cut out the picture of the car you want to drive. Cut out the amount of money you want to earn. Put it there on your dream chart. Take an A2 size paper. Go to the bookshop, buy a manila paper, A2 size. Cut these pictures, put them on your wall. Have it as a game in your family with your children, if you're married, your husband, wife, children, so that everybody's dream is actually there, so that when you're working in the business, you know exactly why you're doing the business. This business is simple, but it's challenging. Okay? So the first thing is do your dream chart. The second thing is learn to order the products yourself. Learn to, when you're filling the form, learn to fill the form correctly. You need to know what PV is, what BV is, what SRP is. You need to know what is a manager, senior manager, executive manager. You need to know do you need to become a director. All these administrative things you need to know. You need to know the basis of our compensation plan. Okay? The third thing you need to do is now how to prospect. What is prospecting? Prospecting is looking for people who are looking for the business. 3 rules. Number 1, do not prejudge anybody. You know, I remember when you're in the business, there's a neighbor of ours who I was very reluctant to speak to because she was working for the United Nations, and I saw them, they live in a beautiful home and they had beautiful cars. I thought, this one, I don't think they'll be interested. 2 weeks later, I saw her at a meeting. She had been sponsored by somebody else. And I learned a big lesson from that. Do not prejudge anybody. Whether they're successful or not, man or a woman, whatever it is, do not prejudge anybody and make a decision on their behalf. Let them make the decision after you've shown them the business. So rule number 1 about prospect list, do not prejudge. Number 2, write the names down. All of you, if you have a smartphone, if you go on your contact list, you have at least 200 people on that contact list. Okay? I have 3,400 people on my in my contact list. And I think I've spoken to most of them. Some joined the business, some did not join the business. Okay? So do not prejudge, write their names down, then tick their names off. What does that mean? Talk to them about the business. So once you've written the prospect list, what is the next thing you need to master? You need to master how to invite. I think this is called the gateway of network marketing. This is the gateway of our business. Learn how to invite professionally. That leads me to another thing, using the business system. If you want this business to grow, if you want it to be successful, if you want to build a business so that sometimes you can take a month off the business and the business grows, learn how to use the system. What is the system? The system is a series of meetings, presentations, training, the monthly recognition rallies, the annual conventions, the team meetings, the CDs, books, brochures. All these things make part of a system. And most of these things have been done professionally. So don't let the business depend on you. Let your business depend on the system. That simply means that if you're new today, pick up the phone and say, whoever you're inviting, tell them, look, I've started a business. I'm not very competent, but please, this is a link to tomorrow's meeting. I'd like you to attend. That is all you need to do. The less you speak, the better you will be at sponsoring. And sometimes we speak too much and we lose people in the process. So the less you speak, the better. So learn how to invite people, 3 to 5 people daily. Then learn to show the business. 3 things. 1, how to share your story. Should not be more than 4 minutes. 2, learn how to do a product session. That should not be more than 6 minutes. 3, learn how to do the business opportunity presentation, not more than 15 minutes. And the reason I'm giving these durations is so that when you go to a prospect and you spend an hour or 2, what goes on in the mind of the prospect? That for me to recruit people, I also have to speak for 2 hours. That's what goes on in the mind of the prospect. So be very brief. Just tell them, look, I've started a business. I'm not very proficient, but this is what we do. We build a network of people who use the products. If you want more information, this is the link. Come and attend the meeting. That is somebody who is using the system. Don't make this business about you. Make this business about the system that helps you to grow the business, whether you're there or not. And then follow up. You know, the average person has had, anybody who's over 18 has had the word no 148,000 times. What does that tell you? It tells you that the average person is likely to say no. That is why you have to follow up 5 to 8 times before somebody says yes. There's some people I've been following. In fact, the classic example, there's a lady I met 4 years ago. I was flying from Johannesburg to Nairobi. And we spoke on the plane. She told me what she's doing. I told her what I was doing. And we just started. I never told her anything about the business. So she asked me what I was doing. I said, look, I'm a civil engineer, but I'm running a network marketing business in a company called Neolife. She said, oh, I know that company. So I told her what I do. So when we were just about to disembark on we landed, she turned around and asked me, aren't you going to ask me to join your business? I told her, no. I will show you the business if you want to join the business, but I will not push you to join the business. So we kept in touch. After 3 years is when she joined the business. Okay, so make sure you have a system of follow-up. If you speak to somebody today, the next day, follow up. If they say no or they need more time, follow up after 3 days. If the answer is still no, follow up after 1 week, but do not cancel people out at all. The average follow-up should be between 5 to 8 times. Once you've mastered this process, then teach everybody in your team what you're doing. That is what duplication is. Duplication is teaching people to do what you are doing for long-term success. Okay? So that is what you need to master. And then you need to master how to do 250 PV. How can you do 250 PV? Do 75 PV every week. Can you do 75 PV every week? I mean, if you sell two Pro Vitalities in a week, that's already 72 PV. If you sell 4 bottles of 3NN, that's already 68 PV in a week. So break down your retailing goals into weeks. So if you do 75 to 80 PV per week, by the end of the month, you'll have at least 250 PV. All right. And how do you retail products? 2 things. Have knowledge about the products. 2, listen to people. Because people will always give you a clue of what they're going through, and that gives you the chance to recommend our products. This business is not a sales business. This is a network marketing business. You build a network of people who use a range of products. That's what we do in our business. And then personal development. In fact, for me, I would say that the thing you need to concentrate most of your effort is the growth. You are not paid how much, you're not paid according to what you want. You're paid according to who you are. I think the reason why Josephat and Pierrot are paid a lot of money in this business is because they've grown as leaders. You're not paid according to what you want. You're paid according to who you are. So if you want more money, you need to become more as a person. Your knowledge, your attitude, your leadership skills, your discipline are the things you want. So if you master this short process, if you master these things I've been talking about, in 2 years, you can reach 200,000, 300, $250,000 because it has been done before. Okay? The challenge is sometimes we don't believe in ourselves, but self-belief comes with time. It comes from repetition. It comes from reading good books. It comes from listening or being around positive thinking people. The last thing I want to share with you is self-talk. I'm sure most of you have heard the word self-talk. If you've heard the word self-talk, just show by your hand. I can see the screen, those who are lifting up their hands. How many of you have heard the word self-talk? Okay, I can see quite a number of people. Julia, this is Julia from Nakuru. Welcome, Daktari. I see Julia's, a number of people have heard the word self-talk. Alice Munyeze, congratulations. If you haven't heard the word self-talk simply means you talk to yourself. And by the way, all of you, without a doubt, all of you talk to yourself every single day. You're not even aware you're talking to yourself. I see Harun Machari also lifted his hand, Lina Jelimo, Gladys Jeruto. All these people have heard the word self-talk is. The most conversation you'll ever have with any human being is conversation with yourself. Not your brother, not your spouse, not your sister, not anybody. The most important conversation you're going to have is the conversation you have with yourself. The question is, what does that conversation sound like? What does it composed of? You need to be very careful of what you talk to yourself about. I'll give an idea of what really has helped me in the last 1 year, especially during the lockdown. You know, before the lockdown, I was not very disciplined and serious about physical exercises. But because we were forced to lock down, I remember when the lockdown in South Africa, I think South Africa had the most severe lockdown in Africa. The only thing you'd go out to do is to buy grocery and come back. You couldn't even go outside your gate. So we started exercising with Betty every day for an hour. So when the lockdown was released, we went on exercising. But sometimes I would feel so tired. I would tell myself, okay, Pascal, today you're tired, just take a break. You need a break, don't go and exercise. Then one day it occurred to me, and I started talking to myself. I would wake up at 5:30. I would always prepare my clothes that I'm going to use for exercises the night before, the shoes, my socks, my running gear, my t-shirt and all that. So I'd wake up and sit by the side of the bed, look at the shoes for quite a while, and start talking to myself, telling myself, you can take a break, you are going to exercise tomorrow. Then I realized what was going on. I started telling myself, okay, you don't want to go and run. So what you want is tomorrow you're going to give me the same story. And the day after you're going to give me the same story, you don't want to go and run. After 3, 4, 5 months, you start growing a belly or your tummy, so that when God gives you children, instead of them sitting on your lap, they're sitting on your belly. Is that what you want? In any case, maybe we should have this discussion when you're 5 kilometers from the house. Put on your shoes and let's go. Of course, when you're 5 kilometers away from home, you'll at least you'll have run 10 kilometers. So I began to do that every day, and trust me, that voice that tells you or discourages you from going to run becomes weaker and weaker. Try that. If you pick up the phone and you're afraid of talking to somebody, talk to yourself and say, okay, you don't want to call this person. How do you know this is the next Josephat and Pierrot's karaoke in your team? How do you know that this is the next Charlie Bolton? Then I transferred this same principle to other areas of my life. You know, when you're married, sometimes your spouse can tell you something that is really goes straight into your heart. I can see Pierrot is listening to me very keenly because she knows what I'm talking about. Your spouse can tell you something quite hurtful. Not because they want to, but I mean, things happen in marriage. But what I have realized that has helped me, let me give you an example. For example, Betty tells me something that is hurtful. This is what I go through my mind. Okay, so it is hurtful. Is it true? Yes. Grow up. Secondly, this is a woman who has given you 4 sons. Do you think you can go through one childbirth? Do you think you can go through that level? So man up, realize, grow up, and get on with it. I have found that talking to myself that way has given me incredible peace of mind. When something happens to me outside the ordinary, I stop for 5 seconds and start that conversation in my mind. When I'm reluctant to speak to a prospect, when I'm reluctant to wake up in the morning to go and exercise, when I'm reluctant to read, when I'm reluctant to do the things that I should be doing to make myself a better leader, that's the talk I have with myself. Friends, I cannot begin to tell you how that has made a difference in my life. That is all I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate sharing this evening with you. And Alice Munyenze, I haven't seen your face on Zoom for a long time. So I want to thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your leaders. And take this business seriously. I promise you, if you take the business seriously, in 2 years' time, nobody will afford to employ you in Kenya. Thank you, and God bless you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor.